Hey guys, Ronin here. Welcome back to the Retrocade, and welcome to the very first Sports Saturday that I have decided to do for this channel. As always, if you enjoy the content here, leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and hit the bell for all the latest content. I decided to do these for a couple of reasons. One, because I wanted to try and differentiate some of the content I have between the usual playthroughs that I'm doing, obviously right now with Final Fantasy VI, and I've got a couple episodes of that up, and I'll be recording more to get ready for Monday. And also because, as a kid, my first foray into video games was through my older sibling and his friends, who were all big sports junkies back in the 80s and the early 90s, and kind of through self-defense, because even though I like to play video games, if I wanted to play them, I needed to play sports games with him. And that doesn't mean I'm not a sports fan myself. Growing up in New England and being a Boston sports fan, I had to kind of learn by proxy, and I have no regrets about that. But the reason why I want to start with this game, Pro Wrestling for the Nintendo Entertainment System, is really simple. Even almost 35 years later, this game is still, hands down, my favorite wrestling game, one of my favorite sports games of all time. And I will go to the mat, both figuratively and literally, against anybody who would dare tell me otherwise. I don't care what you say about modern WWE games. I don't care what you tell me about other wrestling games from other genres. To me, this is still the gold standard. Always has been, always will be. And as we go through this playthrough, I hope to show you just why, because it is still a game I keep in my regular playing repertoire whenever I feel up to it all the time. Which is crazy when you think about the fact this is still an 8-bit game. It doesn't have the greatest graphics in the world, but, and I'll flash through these again, these are the wrestlers you have to choose from, and if I recall, there are 6 wrestlers. Starting with the fighter Hayabusa, and then this is my guy right here, Starman. And I'll show you why, obviously, as we play through it. But he's, of course, modeled after the old luchadors you see in Mexican wrestling. You have King Korn Khan of Korea, who, that wouldn't fly very well anymore. Giant Panther, who is meant to be kind of like your Hulk Hogan type of character in some ways. And then the Amazon, who is usually he's Blanca before Blanca. And then King Slender, who, he looks like he's supposed to be Hulk Hogan, but he's actually modeled after Ric Flair, if you know your wrestling history. So without further ado, let's get into this. And again, you can choose through each character as you go. And I will go with Starman. And how each of these matches are set up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a complete run through, because you can beat this game, if you play it right, in about a half an hour. So we may run a little bit long for that. I know with our usual playthroughs, I want to try and keep them to 30 minutes in the ballpark. This one might run a little bit long. I'm not sure, because in order to beat the game, you have to play through it 3 times. You will face each character, excluding the one you pick, 3 times, and then you'll get to the final character, who I'm not going to tell you who it is, because I want to make sure we get there. And then if you beat him, then you finish the game. And each time you run through it, it gets progressively harder. So the first run through should seem pretty cut and dry. Second run through, I usually don't have a problem with it. It's by the time you get to the third playthrough, that's when it gets really tough. You got to be really smart, and there's a realistic chance I might not get to the final character. If I don't get to the final character, then you have to start all over again, and I'm not going to do that. So we will give it a 50-50 chance. Either I'm going to finish this game today or I don't. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of like playing baseball or playing golf. You're playing for a low score, but you're not going to get it all the time. So let's jump into this. And as we play through it, I will try and walk you through how the characters work, how the game works, at least in this first match against Fighter Hayabusa, and give you a better idea of why this game, even still, again, almost 35 years later, exactly 35 years later now that I do my math, and math was never my strong suit, is still so good. And in the meantime, of course, if there are other games that you would like to see featured here on the Retrocade, be sure to leave a comment below. I can't promise I'll get to all your requests, but I will do my best to try and get to and accommodate each one as time allows. And again, your options are to choose from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, the Neo-Geo, the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation 1, and the PlayStation 2. And you pick any game you want. I don't care. There's, out of the 2,000 and plus games I have available at my disposal, I've probably, in my lifetime, and I've been playing games, like I said, for over 40 years, I've played maybe 100 to 150 of them. So there are games I want to try. There are games that I have intentions of getting to, but as this is a YouTube channel and I want this to be a community sort of thing, by all means, give me your input. Give me a game that you wanted to see me play, and that way I can give you an honest assessment of if it's one I've never played before. You know, I can find out whether or not it's held up after X number of years, and whether or not it's still as good as you or I may remember it. We don't know. So, all right, let's jump into this with match 1. And as you can see, it's pretty straightforward here. As I immediately go and get body slammed. And one of the things I like about Starman is he is fast, and he has this move here, which is a flying cross chop. And I only... Whoop. Except, one of the things you don't want to do is you don't want to run into your guy. Now, early on, one of the tricks in this game is you want to be able to whittle your guy down. And doing stuff like a German suplex is really helpful in that respect. Pardon the slight screen freeze. And you saw Hayabusa there try and give me a pile driver. That's one of his finishing moves. But he couldn't do it because I'm still too strong. There's another move that you can do that's a really great finishing move called the Brain Buster, that if you try and do it, you are in serious trouble if you do it too early, because they will go ahead and just thump you. I'll try and go for the pin here early. And then you can do stuff like a flying knee drop. And then that's his other special move. And you can always tell when you do a special move because the crowd will respond to it. Well, that wasn't smarty, was it? And see if I can pin him here. Yeah, the early matches tend to go pretty quick. You have a 5-minute time limit. And as you win, you'll move up the rankings until you get to the end, and then you get a shot at the championship belt. See, and I was immediately trying to do the cross chop, and Karn is already wised up to it. And sometimes when you throw a guy into the ropes, depending on where you're at... Ooh, and I already hit him with a Brain Buster. See, that was the Brain Buster. And essentially, it's a vertical suplex. But I was not expecting to be able to pull that off. And most of these moves, it's all when you lock up like this, depending on what you have, if you can get the advantage... then it's a matter of hitting either A or B and then up, down, whatever you want to do. Let's see if I can get him to... No, he's not good. And then once you're out of the ring, in regular wrestling, you have until a 10 count. In this game, you have a 20 count. And nice, I was able to duck that clothesline. And I'll have one more just for the heck of it. Whoop! I didn't mean to pick him up. But yeah, when you do that and send him out of the ring... Oh, come on, you bugger. You can do a move where you can run out of the ring and dive on the guy while he's down. But I don't think he's going to get up at this point. It's 18, 19, out. I had pulverized poor King Karn fairly viciously in that fight. So now we move on to Giant Panther. Giant Panther's special moves are a headbutt and the Iron Claw. And my brother loved playing this character when we were little. because he was a fan of a particular type of wrestling that my grandfather was really into watching wrestling when we were kids. I don't watch it anymore. Ooh, that was a stout knee drop. But way back in the day, there was a type of wrestling that you could watch on Saturdays. It was World Class... Ooh, he moved out of the way. That's going to sting. Called World Class Championship Wrestling. It was based out of Texas. Come on, bugger. Still can't get him to do the flyer. Anyway. Okay. So we do try and make it... Try and decide who's trying to get in and out of the ring here. Well, the big stars of World Class Championship Wrestling were a family called the Von Erichs. And if you know anything about wrestling, and even if on the abstract, you know that name is fairly tortured in sports history, because I think there's only one left. But their big move was the Iron Claw. Now, the Amazon, he's the villain in this game. He'll do the choke. He'll do all the illegal stuff that most bad guys in wrestling will do. Ooh, that kind of a nice spin kick. For some reason, they call the spin kick in this game a rolling butt. I'm not sure why. I like it just a straight spin kick better. And then obviously you can punch a guy. Like, I can pick him up. Ooh, as he kicks me in the head. See, there's a punch. Yeah, I better not get messy with him here. But I always liked Starman because he was more of an acrobatic type of guy, because he can do the stuff like the somersault kick. This may be a long way. See if I can get him. Oh, no. That's not a smart thing. And when you miss a move like that, it does take your life out. You can tell there's no life bar here. You get a little... When you start getting really hurt... Come on. There we go. Not sure why my controllers aren't really working with me on this. But when you kind of get like down to half life, you get a little garbled signal letting you know, and then when you are really hurting, it'll give you a klaxon warning letting you know. Let's see if I can hit him with a knee drop. Or I'll just splash him, and then this should be it. No, not yet. Okay. That ought to do it. The Brainbuster takes so much out of him. Whoop. If I can pin him just after a collision, this would be funny. Yeah, I did it. So that's 4 down, and now we move on to King Slender for a shot at the title. And King Slender has one special move, and it's a backbreaker. And he's a guy you really don't want to screw around with. You want to make sure you just start... Ooh, I thought he was... He'll pick you up to do a body slam, and then he will turn you around and give you the backbreaker. And it'll hurt as I knock him down with a punch. Can I pull it? Yep. Usually if you can pull 3 Brainbusters... There we go. That's the flyer. Where you go up over the ropes. See if it's going to let me do it. Uh-oh. And even in this game, if you are, like, just rolling in and the clock hits 20, you still lose. He's not there yet. Couple of spin kicks, see if that's it. Yep. And we have a new champion. So now that I've run through it the first time, and I'm only 15 minutes in, now we have to defend the title 10 times, twice against each other player, or other character in the game, I should say. And again, now they're going to get a little bit harder. And if I can make it through the next time, then they'll be even harder than that. Now, while Hayabusa likes to use the pile driver, his actual finishing move, or his specialty move, is what's called the back brain kick, where he will move to the side, jump up, and literally kick you in the back of the head. But it's a hard move to pull off. And in all the times I have played this game... Oh, that's the first time I've ever been able to get with a running knee drop. Most of the time, you either run right by them, or you somehow jump right through them when you try and execute that. I don't remember the last time I was able to pull that off. Oh, that hurt. You know what? I'm going to leave him there and see if I can keep him from getting back in the ring. 18, 19. See, he's halfway in and he still gets counted out. You got to be all the way under that rope for you not to get counted out. But one of the other things I love about this game is that, along with the ability to have a really concise moveset, is that there's nothing that you have as far... Ooh, and I pulled that off already. Again, it's... You have to wear your opponents down before you can execute a move like the Brainbuster. If you don't, and they reverse it, man, does it hurt. It hurts something awful. And in a game like this where, again, you don't have a life bar... You have to be really cognizant of how much punishment you've taken. And he just got in under the wire. But now that I've already whittled him down a bit... Ooh! As he gets me with a karate kick. His other thing is he just does a straight karate chop, where he jumps up and hits you. Alright, that should be enough to get him. 2, 3... But as I was saying, one of the other things I love about this game is that the graphics are not graphic. You know, like you see in most 90s games and most, you know, modern wrestling games, when a guy gets hurt or cut, which has been a long-standing part of professional wrestling, you know, you don't have to worry about that in this game. So it's still a game that kids can play. Like this, and there's the Iron Claw. I wonder if I'll get him to do a headbutt. But yeah, literally all the Iron Claw is he just grabs that big old paw of his and locks your face up with it. Oh, and he rolled out of the way. And a move like the Brainbuster is something you will never see in wrestling again, because it is one of those that you just pick a guy up and you drop him straight on his head. And if you do 3 in a row like that, if he kicks out of that, I'd be really surprised. But with the emphasis on safety, and understandably so, I mean, you know, you'll hear people all the time talk about how wrestling is fake or it's staged. Yes, it is choreographed. Yes, the endings are scripted, but... Ooh, and there's the choke move. which is good because I was realizing as I lost that lockup, I was about to try a brainbuster on him, which is not a smart move. Again, right out the gate. But one thing that I will always respect people who have the gumption to get into professional wrestling as a performer, it's that they take a pounding. Everything you see, all the physical stuff you see, none of that is scripted. And again, I haven't watched pro wrestling. I haven't probably watched a wrestling match since I was maybe 14, if that, which is a long time ago. But I remember as a kid, we would go over to my grandfather's house every Saturday. And usually just after lunch, they had wrestling on in some form. And we would sit down and watch it, and because it was something you could do. And I never understood why my grandfather was so appealed by it. Okay, that garble right there tells me I am halfway through my life. Which means I better pin him now, because if I let him give me any more punishment, I risk him getting the upper hand. But growing up, we would watch WWF, which is now WWE. We would watch NWA Wrestling, which is now WCW Wrestling. So I was introduced to guys like Macho Man Randy Savage, and Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant. And even going back to, ooh, and there's the backbreaker. You do not want to let him give you too many of those. And when you lock up like this, it's a 50-50 proposition. It's really who can hit the button. If I can get my button hit the fastest, ooh, he hits me again. I can't take too many of those. There we go. I better give him a somersault kick. The somersault kicks and the German suplexes soften up guys to be able to hit them with a brain buster. And I know that's not going to be enough to take him out. I'm going to have to hit him with a couple. As I'm already halfway gone. I better try and take him out soon. Okay. I'm going to hit him one more. See if that'll do it. But growing up in the 80s and watching everybody who is considered a legend now as far as wrestling goes, it was fun. You know, for a small kid growing up outside of Boston, it was a way that I could spend time with my granddad, who he passed, you know, like most grandparents, they usually pass away much too early. And then, of course, my brother and I would go home, and I can't tell you how many bed frames we destroyed trying to replicate it. Drove my parents nuts. It was like every other year we'd have to get... Oh! See, that's what happens if you try and do that too early. I wasn't trying to. But if you try and do a brainbuster, they will reverse it, and that hurts. And with somebody like Hayabusa, that opens you up to potentially getting hit with a pile driver, which is just as bad. Now, Starman doesn't have a pile driver option, because if you use the same control, which is down and A, he does a somersault kick, which is just as effective, but you don't have to soften up your opponent as much to hit it. Move him out of the way, drop another German suplex on him. Now I should be able to pull off the brainbuster. That's how he goes. But that he got up from that pretty quick. Let's see if I can do it here. By God, King! As God is my witness, he is broken in half! And that's concrete out there. It doesn't impact their ability to get back up, especially when you're doing the third run through. Now, he tried the pile driver and couldn't pull it off. Because even though I managed to botch that brainbuster early on, he still hasn't whittled me down enough that he can execute it. Whereas I've now hit him with 3 straight brainbusters, and I've sent him out of the ring again. Now I'm going to get back in the ring. And where he's at, he's probably going to get in. Hit him with a cross chop and see if I can pin him now. 2, 3. So now I don't have to fight Hayabusa again. Now if I can get through Karn, I'll have 3 to go. And again, it's all about softening them up so you can get the big moves. And that was his attempt to do his Mongolian chop, is what they call it. This is also a game that, let's be honest, if you try to make this now with these characters, it probably wouldn't fly. I mean, out of all of them, Karn is probably the one I would suspect would get the most scrutiny. I mean, Hayabusa's... wrestling is huge in Japan. I mean, even more so than it is here in the United States. I thought here in America, of course, we really took it to another level, but the Japanese, just like it is in Mexico. Oh! I did not expect him to hit me with a brainbuster that early. That's not good, and I absolutely cannot let him hit me with another one. Oh! No, get in the ring, get in the ring, get in the ring, get in the ring, get in the ring. Okay. See where we're at here. 1, 2. Alright, he's still pretty strong. If they can kick out even before you get to like 2.5. Come on. Uh-oh. That's the warning klaxon. So now he can pin me, and I've got a real problem here. And I've been trying to pull the brainbuster off, and it's not working. So I need to improvise here. Because now he can go for the pin whenever he wants. Where am I at here? Where I got under 3 minutes to go. 2. And each body slam, even though body slams aren't that powerful, there we go. That's it. I have lost. Which means now I would need to beat Karn again and go through all 10 characters again if I want to get to the end and beat the game. So I think what we'll do is that we're actually at almost half an hour, but that is pro wrestling in a nutshell. And this is still, like I said, it's a game where you can just pop it in and play it. There's no difficulty setting. You just go until you win or you lose, and you keep playing until you get to the end. And if you get to the end, that's it. That's the way NES games were constructed back in the day, where you had not a whole lot of flexibility because the games were so small. I mean, you think about how big modern games are as opposed to what you're able to do with games back in the day. Your options were really, really limited. So this is one where I may pull this out and play this again at some point because I want to still see if I can get all the way through it. But each progressive time you get through the characters, it gets progressively harder. And that's part of the challenge of it. You can't set it to easy and see what happens. You just go. And then you just figure out how to get through each character. And if you can survive long enough, then you see what happens. So Hope you enjoyed this first Sports Saturday. I will be back next Saturday with a different game, and it may be one from another Nintendo game. But again, your options, if you have a game you'd like to see here on the channel, you can pick from the NES, the SNES, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2. And it can be any game. Take your pick. If you want to see me play Madden Football, you want to see me play Super Mario Brothers, you want to see me play Metroid, whatever, go crazy, be creative, look them up, see what you want to do. But in the meantime, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the bell for the latest content. My name is Ronin, and it's been a lot of fun. I will talk to you on Monday. Actually, no, I think about it. I will talk to you tomorrow with another special weekend episode, but I'm not going to give it away yet because what's the fun in that? Anyway, have a good weekend. I will talk to you then. Bye.